It might have been the best 8-day stretch of 2024 for Inter Miami. We look back at it all and unpack a lot that is still coming up here on the Inter Miami Weekly Show. Welcome back here at Chase Stadium with a very happy Kieran Gibbs after Arsenal's result against Tottenham. I'm Joe Malfa, happy to have you with us here this weekend. And we're mostly happy because of the 8-day stretch that I alluded to for Inter Miami. Let's walk back through the whole thing. Last week on the show, you said, let's get greedy. Let's hope for a tie between Columbus and Cincinnati, help everything out. That's exactly what happened. Those two tied. But even further back, the week that Inter Miami was off in the previous week, you had Columbus lose to Seattle. Then you had those teams tie. In the meantime, Messi comes back healthy. Inter Miami wins. Probably the best 8 days all around for what happened for us, for what happened elsewhere. And I think we've said this all year, Kieran. There's nothing to complain about.
No, there's not. It's just playing out perfectly into their hands, isn't it? And another top win from Miami. The highly anticipated return of Messi. And, you know, over 60 days out, we're so happy to see him back. And he came back with a bang, didn't he? Another brace. It's just normal proceedings for him. But as a team, I thought that they didn't start the sharpest. But at the moment, I feel that it's only a matter of time before things click with them. And when you have someone like Drake in goal at the moment with the form that he's on, he allows time for the team to click on the pitch. And when they do, they're just totally devastating. And that is exactly what we saw in quick succession with the goals. No team can live with them in the MLS when they finally, the bells ring and everyone's in sync. So another top win to add to this story, this incredible story.
And let's dive into it with the highlights. I mean, like you said, it started off with a bang. Not the bang you're hoping for. It was back to some of the other early season issues where it was Inter Miami conceding first 2 minutes in, but you do tip your cap to the goal that was scored here by Philadelphia. It was a brilliant one in the end. There's really nothing you could do about this.
No, not at all. It's a wonderful goal. You have to give this credit. I think we could have dealt with the header a little better, but once this player receives the ball, he does great to get around Martinez and finish it off with his left foot.
And this is where Drake Callender really kept him alive. The double save here. Otherwise, it could have been 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, look at him. His presence just, he's so aggressive coming off the line, and his decision-making is just excellent. He's in top form at the moment.
And then bang, bang, 2 goals, 3 minutes for Messi and his return.
Yeah, I mean, just the efficiency. I mean, you didn't really see too much of him in the opening stages of the game, but he just bides his time, doesn't he? And as soon as he sniffs an opening, he just clicks into gear, and he's just ruthless in front of goal.
We missed this. There's no other way to put it. We missed this for the 105 days that he was gone between games for Inter Miami. We missed this.
Yes. I mean, just listen, Joe, like his timing of his runs, how he, after all of these years, people decide not to pick him up inside the box is crazy, but he's so difficult to mark because he knows when to move, and he's lost you, and when he's on the move, the timing and the precision of his shot, he's just impossible to stop.
They had a third goal in rapid succession there in the first half. VAR overturned it, but eventually it was taken away from Luis Suarez. He would get his goal then in stoppage time.
Yeah, and it took him a while as well, but I thought that his link-up play throughout the game was outstanding, as he has been throughout this season, really. What's that now? 17 goals, I think, this season. Incredible from him.
Yeah, he sets the record for a single season for Inter Miami. He was tied with Gonzalo Higuain, now has that record unto himself. So congratulations to Luis Suarez. He might not have that record for long, though, depending on how the season ends up here, because Messi is only a couple of goals behind. We still have 6 games to play. So as quickly as Luis Suarez took that record from Gonzalo Higuain, he could lose it to Messi depending on how things go down the stretch here. But Kieran, we have to obviously spend time on Messi. It's lost time, making up for lost time, because we missed him for so long. You saw that cherry on top, if you will. I mean, the record was still good without him. Team was still winning matches, but just putting him in, it adds that extra layer, that extra killer instinct, that extra gap between us and any opposition we face.
Yes, and for me, it's the way that he's just slotted straight back in, like he never left. I mean, you've been out for over 2 months, and I mean, we all saw the pictures of his ankle, And for him to come back and just look like he hasn't been out is a testament to the work that he puts in, outside of the pitch. And, I think for the team, they've done so well without him. And you're right, he does give them that extra dimension when he's playing. So to have him back at this time with these last few games coming, it's so important for Miami, and they'll be delighted to have him back. Obviously, I just love the way that he weans himself into games.
Yeah.
He kind of picks his moments of when he's going to put his energy into certain plays, because I think he's calculating in his head, okay, I have a good chance to score here, so I'm going to use all of my maximum effort and precision and balance and skill, and he does it in a flash, and all of a sudden it's 1-0, and it's just incredible to see how he's doing it after so many years. You can see now as the years have gone on, those moments that he decides to put the energy into the game are fewer, but they're even more accurate, so the chances of him scoring or affecting the game when he comes alive are so high, and that's why he's just such an efficient player. It's incredible to see.
Yeah, 15 goals, 15 assists in 19 MLS matches, fastest to reach that 15-15 mark. There's nothing else to say. I mean, man of the match day in the league for the 4th time this season, team of the match day along with Suarez. It just goes on, and
it's not a given.
It's not a given.
It's not a given. This is the thing. We've said it many times this season, haven't we, about just the fact that they've got all of these great players together. That doesn't mean that you go and have a season like they're having. You have to do the work still, and all of them deserve credit. Tata, managing the team right the way from Drake, Callender all the way up to Suarez. Everyone has to do their bit to get these outcomes that Miami are having right now, and credit to all of them for that.
Yeah, you have to forgive me for having my phone out, because to your point, the season that we're having, there's a lot of numbers, there's a lot of records we're chasing right now. Got to keep them all in order here. So the points record is very much alive. It was set in 2021 by New England Revolution at 73. Inter Miami currently at 62 points, maximum points available 80. So on pace right now to take down that points record. The wins record, it's a little dicey in MLS. It's technically 24, but that goes back to the early days, 1998, 1999, where there was still a shootout victory. That counted as a victory, the old school MLS-style shootout, running in for about 30 yards out with the keeper. That's gone now. It's a thing of the past. So in the modern era, the wins record is 22. It's the Red Bulls of 2018, and it's that New England team of 2021. So right now, and we'll get to the chase for first place in the Supporter Shield in a moment, but thinking bigger, this could very well go down as the best season in MLS history. And we've been so focused on Messi and the things that have been happening, and then Leagues Cup, and focused on this race with Cincinnati and Columbus. We've lost sight of the bigger picture, that it could be a record-breaking season. Again, 80 points is the maximum available with 6 games remaining. 73 is that target. The maximum wins available right now for Inter Miami could see them get up to 25. The record is 22. So all those are still in play, and the schedule ahead: at Atlanta, 10th place; at NYCFC, 6th place; home against Charlotte, 7th place; at 3rd place Columbus; at 8th place Toronto; home against last place New England. So that's the schedule ahead to try and take down those records. It could be a record-breaking season for the club.
It really could. It really could. And for me, I think, more importantly is, as a team, when you're having a season like this, is you always need something to work towards. You always need a record to break. You always need to find a new motivation to keep the team, to keep the team's momentum. And if you don't have that, you have a chance of taking your foot off the gas, which we don't want to see, because we know what football is like. It can quickly change, and I think the more that they have these motivations to break these records and to make history for the club, they're really close now, and it's within sight. So I think it's important that they know that history is there for them to take. And I think that will keep them, fully focused on the task at hand.
No doubt. And to take it a step further, beside the records, what's most important, the team aspect, getting first place, making it so that the path to MLS Cup has to come through Chase Stadium behind us here, winning that Supporter Shield, that piece of hardware in the cabinet. The teams in the race right now: Cincinnati, Columbus, and then out west, the Galaxy have kind of crept back into it with a couple of wins in a row here. Cincinnati's maximum points available, 70. The Galaxy's maximum points available, 70. Columbus's maximum points available, 71. I mentioned it's 80 as the maximum points available for Inter Miami. 6 games remaining. So do the quick math. Even if those teams, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Galaxy, win every single game remaining on the schedule, all Inter Miami needs to do, 3 wins, 3 losses in the final 6 games, and that does it. So it's coming into focus now as far as clinching first place as well.
Yes, and like I said, I think that the focus on them should not be at this time, what's behind them. It looks likely that they're going to clinch that. As to how far can they go, in a regular season? How much history can they make? This does not happen every season to teams, and so when you're in this position, you have to go for the kill as much as you can. But I think that Tata will be, and especially the likes of Messi, Suarez, Alba, how much history and records have they broken? They'll be letting the team know that that this chance is a big one to take, and I think that if they continue to play like they are, then there's no reason why at least some of those records won't be broken.
Yeah, and of course you've got 2 of those games at home. The way it sets up, it's actually really nice. 2 games on the road, then that home game against Charlotte. If you do the math, if they go 3-0, or depending on if those other teams, Columbus, Cincy, Galaxy, drop points, we could clinch the Supporter Shield at home in that game against Charlotte. The way things go, and thinking further ahead, that 73-point or 22-win New England Revolution team, we're home on the last day of the season against New England. So it kind of sets up storyline-wise where we could clinch the Supporter Shield at home against Charlotte. We can clinch that record possibly at home against a team whose record would be broken in New England. So let's not get too far ahead, but it's that weird balance of not getting too far ahead, but realizing we only have 5 weeks left. So we don't want to get too far ahead, but we also don't have that much time remaining.
Yeah, exactly. But, the team seem focused now. They seem like they're just, taking each game as it comes. They're not looking too far ahead. They're dealing with each game that's in front of them, and they're handling their business, like they have done all season, really well, in my opinion.
And one of the players who has maybe been a little bit lost in the shuffle, but we need to bring his attention back to the top here. Benha Kramaski signed his extension this week through 2027, club option for 2028. He's been outstanding for Inter Miami ever since he burst onto the scene as the 5th ever homegrown signing. Think back to last year in the quote-unquote before times, before all these players came in. It was Benha as a teenager who was the focus of the group. Then he goes on to make his U.S. men's national team debut at the senior level. He goes on to the Olympics with the United States. It's just been a terrific rise for his young career.
It has been an incredible rise. Miami found a gem in Benha Kramaski, and delighted for him to sign a new contract. I think as a player, when you have your club give you that security and backing, you can it removes any doubt in your mind, and you can just fully focus on your football, So, as a player, when you don't have so much long on your contract, it can always, it can affect you, and to give him, that back in to say that, we're impressed with what you've done, and we see you as someone that can be here for a long time. And he represents the club through and through. He's a local boy. Miami feel indebted to look after him, and it's great to see. I think he's a player that's grown in stature year after year, and I think that now that he has this contract, it's for him to say, okay, I want to take this responsibility on and become a main player for Inter Miami, and he's a young player with a lot of talent, and now we really want to see him go into that next gear now of being a top tier player for his club, and eventually continuing to strive and appear for his country as well. So a super talent.
Yeah.
Excited to see how this next few years look for him. He has to keep his head on his shoulders. He has a lot of work to do still, but I'm really happy for him, and I think that he's going to have a big impact for this club.
No doubt. Young player, local player, talented player, signed through 2027, which makes him one of the perfect players to help usher in the Miami Freedom Park era here for Inter Miami.
Vamos, Inter, número 1.
you could already sense the excitement around the community for Miami Freedom Park. It's going to be here before you know it. And what else will be here before you know it is that September 28th match against Charlotte as Inter Miami honors Hispanic Heritage Month in partnership with Espolon Tequila. So make sure you're there on the 28th against Charlotte. There'll be plenty of stuff pre-match in the fan zone. Get out there. There'll be a meet and greet with Nico Freire. So make sure you're in town for that one. And again, it could be a trophy-raising night for Inter Miami, depending on how the math shakes out over these next couple of matches with Atlanta, with NYC, and depending on how some of those other teams do. That could very well be the night that Inter Miami clinches the Supporter Shield. So plenty of reasons. You've got tequila, you've got a trophy, you've got Hispanic Heritage Month. Make sure you're here at Chase Stadium for that one. But before we come home for that game, it's at Atlanta, it's at NYCFC. Two difficult-ish road tests because it's two teams who are fighting for their playoff lives. NYCFC haven't won a match in MLS since early July. They've fallen from the top 2 all the way down to 6, but they're trying to stay alive. Atlanta right now just below that line in 10th. They're trying to get back above it. They've been playing a little bit better as of late. So this Atlanta one, it's another instance for Inter Miami to get some revenge. At the end of May, Atlanta came here. Atlanta won 3-1. We've seen all year long those moments where maybe a team beat Inter Miami earlier in the year. They've always seemed to come back and get them back for it in the next one.
They have, yeah. They like a bit of revenge, don't they? But there's always a team or two at this stage of the season trying to spoil the party. So they have to be focused. But I have no doubt with the form that they're on at the moment that they'll get the job done. And
then on the weekend against NYCFC on the road again, another team who's still had different times this year. They've been up, they've been down. Right now, again, fighting for their lives. How difficult is it for Inter Miami? A 2-match week, I guess 3 matches in 8 days if you want to expand it back to the match against Philly. So 3 matches in 8 days, 1 on the road in Atlanta on turf, 1 on the road at NYCFC. So a lot of travel going on. How do you make sure that everybody is in full fitness, healthy? How are you rotating if you're Tata Martino?
I think he's got to have honest conversations with the players individually at this stage of the season. You know, the likes of Messi on turf, for example, Suarez as well. You know, how comfortable are they? Messi's been out for over 2 months. Do we really want to see him overdo it again and do something silly before, you know, such a crucial part of the season? But there's enough players that have, you know, stepped up during the period where we've had missing players. So I think Tata won't be too worried at the moment. I think he's got a squad that, you know, is in fine form. I think he just has to manage their fitness levels, you know, speaking to the medical staff, and they have to get this part right. So, you know, it's a big job for especially the backroom staff at this stage of the season to try and get the most out of the squad.
And who are you looking to in the event that there's rotation and maybe Suarez or Messi or minutes are diminished because of the rotation, because of the condensed schedule? Who are you looking to step up if you need to look on somebody else?
Well, you have the likes of Yannick Bright, Robert Taylor, Campana, those players that, you know, have stepped up brilliantly for Miami that haven't featured as much, but have always delivered when called upon. So I'm sure Tata will be, you know, looking to lean on those over this, you know, little busy patch.
Next week's show is going to have ice cream, we've been told. So regardless of however many points we pick up this week, we're still going to celebrate with some ice cream next week as we take this show on the road. Hopefully, though, it is to celebrate a nice 6 points as Inter Miami's chase for the Supporter Shield continues, as Inter Miami's chase for some records in MLS history continues. Make sure you're with us every step of the way by liking and subscribing here on YouTube for the Inter Miami Weekly Show.
Green skies are calling, yes, I'm coming home. It's the freedom to dream, I feel it in my bones. Green skies are calling.
North is 15, United 12, wind 240.